You speak with conviction. I mean, it's no surprise. It's not like a drop in the bucket that have become who you are. You are who you are supposed to be. This
I appreciate that.
God made you to do what you do. You're living your passion, and it's evidence when you look. I mean, when I listen to you speak, I see you think. I see you think through it. I mean, I'm sharing this because as we get into comedy and we talk about, people like you, I believe, help change the narrative. Because a lot of people's perception of comedians is that they're just funny people. They don't recognize the business people, the community leaders, the advocates, the fact that they're, men, Christians. There's a lot more there. And the conviction with your voice when I hear you speak, that's how I knew, not just comedy,
Yeah.
entertainment.
It's speaking with conviction, what I think, man, that comes from is when you try to be educated and then you try your hardest to be honest, then when the words that come out of your mouth, you have a lot of confidence in them. You don't have to second guess yourself, or you don't have to worry if you're manipulating someone. So it's easier to speak with conviction. So that's kind of what I try to bring into my thought process before I let stuff come out of my mouth. Because there's a lot of bullshit that happen before I say some words. It's a lot of things that,
I'm sure.
that go on up there. But I try to, whatever comes out, man, I try to let it be something I can stand on.
Shit, man. My grandma influenced a lot of shit that you hear in my music, man. Like, my grandma, like, everything, man, from Switch, man. Like, you hear all that shit, bro. Like, boy, I started up an epidemic in the city that everybody say, you might not like me, you might not know me or anything, but, niggas walking around here talking about, yeah, I just went and caught a Switch. I just made a this. Shit, I started that shit. That shit came from all my music. Like, you look at all this shit, boy, I started this shit. That's why I switched, man. Like, started the switch spot. Like, when niggas was on that fucking, yeah, I trap this. I had moved to Atlanta, so I ain't want to be like I was from Atlanta. So I did whatever I could to stand out and be a, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to be different, man. Like, so I said switch. And I got that from my grandma. Like, my grandma started the word switch. For all y'all niggas that's out here using that word, my grandma started the word switch, dog, in this perfect sense, dog. She said, yo, I see you out there, you know what I'm saying, switching drugs for money. So I just took from that and just said switch.
Did grandma come around with that switch also?
What you mean?
Yo, my grandma used to make me go grab a switch. I grew up in the country.
You talking about switch?
She said, "You go grab a switch." I'm like, yo, you come back with a little twig.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I bring it because I'm thinking grandmas. When grandma has impacted your music, grandmas have the ability to kind of whip us around, whip us in shape, help us become who we are.
Yeah.
And throwing that switch to the rod.
Yeah, my grandma was a real G.
So, man, you've been out. I mean, you've been out a long time, and you heavily connected, man. Pharrell gave you the most amazing compliment that anyone can give. We recognize Pharrell as a GOAT, not only in Virginia, but across the world. And he spoke, and he said he was most inspired by you.
No, definitely. I mean,
it was amazing. I feel like he threw you the alley-oop, and, like, you've already been doing it. And now it's like, we're sitting here thinking, like, man, there's so much potential for what he's going to do because the endorsement that just happened in Virginia.
But like I said again, man, it was definitely, I was definitely pleased by it, but, what I'm saying, it's organic. Anytime we see each other, we chop it up, you know what I'm saying? To me, it's more so regular. To the other people, it's like, the biggest thing in the world for the fact of the matter of that, it was Pharrell weekend, you know what I'm saying? It was all about him, you know what I'm saying? Something in the water and shit, though. And he get on the platform and talk about me. So I understand why people was like, you know what I'm saying, intrigued and, just more so shocked than.
So we was talking about, people just because they get a camera, they call themselves photographers. Or just because they got like DJ equipment, they feel as though they're a DJ.
Yeah.
So they can buy all the best equipment.
Yeah.
So do you think the access of money can lead to success?
Yeah, I do. I think the bigger issue is that everybody defines success different. So, I feel like if you have money, it gives you an advantage because it gives you the opportunity. You're privileged. If you have money, you're privileged, and you may have worked for it. So you may have earned it. So I'm not saying you're privileged, but you have quicker access. You know what I'm saying, to getting. It's like if you have money, then you can go get a college education. And you know, if you ain't got money or you ain't got loans, you can't get a college education.
That's true.
And a lot of people in America view success as being a college graduate when the most successful people didn't.
I had that conversation.
You know what I'm saying?
Same conversation today with my homeboy.
Now, money, but they may have got to the money even faster because of the grind and the obstacles that they accomplished, you know, through the process of not going to college, but going straight into life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we all want more money it's a challenge every time you go into a conversation with someone. I look at it almost like it's, I'm not saying I'm doing an assessment, but you're filling them out, they're filling you out. You may have not had a relationship or rapport prior. Right. You may have, you know what I'm saying? But to be successful, you got to make it through the conversation with someone that you may not know much about at all without hitting triggers or touching on things too, like you want this to be successful. It's being recorded. Mm-hmm. You want to show it. You want to post it, and hell, you might even want to go live. Right. So you gotta be able to know how to manage that. You know, and I will say that I've had some interesting experiences just up until these last few. You know what I'm saying? Where I've like, you know, and so like, radio. How did you get the name?
Originally my name was Blitz, and that was like my first rap name, and there was another Blitz from Queensbridge that used to run with Nas. He was on Stillmatic, and we just, as time went on, we just were like crossing media, you know, paths and stuff like that. So I felt like it was gonna be either confusing or whatever the case. So I was like, all right, I need to come up with something else, and I, you know, the radio, the boombox or whatever, has always been like an iconic symbol in hip hop. So and radio in itself is just like, it's just one of those hip hop words. Yes. So it's just like, I used to be in the back of my mind like, yo, I wonder why there's no rappers named Radio. So as I started to think about changing my name, I incorporated that and just put the, you know, B for Blitz at the end. So it's just, you know, Radio B. But I've been using that name for, I don't know, a long time. Like
I was going to ask you that.
2003, probably, something like that.
Okay. So, yeah, when I think about the way you described it is how I think about it. And I also think about when I was a kid sitting outside the laundromat waiting on my grandma out there with the boombox. Right. I think about MCs. Yeah. I think about Kool Moe Dee. I think about a time in hip hop when the radio is how we received our music.
Right.
And you're kind of one of those artists that exemplify the old and the new.
Right.
You know?
So it's like that's how it kind of, it's like a symbolic thing. So when you see a boombox, I mean, you automatically think hip hop. So it's like, that's kind of my perspective. Like when we thought, you know, like LL Cool J, I can't live without my radio type thing. You know, you think of hip hop. So when people see me, I want them to look at me as like a physical representation of the culture.
Yeah, I'm a creative, right? And like an actual creative though. It's who I am, it's what I am. So like I've learned all these tools to get my ideas across. So I'll do graphic design, I'll shoot and edit video, I'll produce a record from scratch. Like most everything that I created has just come from a thought. As of Vice is on, when I started producing my own music, everything just came from a thought. I might have just like feel a certain way. Then I can go find a sample that kind of puts me in that mood. Then I'll chop that sample up and make a beat out of it. Then I record the song. Then later it's like, okay, I got a video idea for that. I can do the video. Hey, I might have a shirt based off of that idea. Design a shirt. Whatever. Like my whole thing was just being able to be creatively free and not having to lean on somebody else. I do want to work more with other people though, because the workload is a lot and it kind of slows me up.
You don't look like it when you got lost tapes and gold mines of albums
Yeah, we'll see, and that's part of the reason why it hasn't come out though, because it's like I feel like everything needs to have its proper amount of TLC, and a lot of the songs that don't come out, the only reason they're not out is because I wasn't able to baby them, you know what I'm saying, and nurture them, the ideas completely, because nothing like is a bigger pet peeve for me than when I put out an incomplete idea and people judge it based off of that and not what it could have been. So for me, it's just like I'm gonna hold on to it until it's nurtured correctly.
You letting your music age like good scotch. I mean, you really are. Or where most artists are eating, they're hungry. They can't hold their music too long because they gotta go at somebody, or they gotta put something out there to stay relevant.
Yeah.
In social media or whatever. But you know, it's a lot of art.
Some people have to do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've been lucky enough to set myself up in a way where a lot of my value and equity have come through my absence. You know what I'm saying? From me being able to kind of like step back for a second and let people miss me a little bit, then hit them with something else. Now, my thing now this year is, and moving forward, is to drop more frequently than I have. Like I'll fall back for 2 or 3 years before I drop another project a lot of times. That's just because I like to let like life write the songs. So it's like, I mean, gotta live to come up with ideas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So but I do plan on dropping a lot more, and that's what these like gold mine volumes are for.
Okay.
I have just tons and tons of music that has not seen the light of day, but I listen to on a regular basis.
Who is Randy Wilson? I see that on your Facebook page.
Yeah. So I'm a father. I'm an executive director. I'm a community leader. I'm a podcaster. I'm a coach. I'm a believer in Christ. That's pretty much who I am.
You wear a lot of hats.
Yes.
Mr. Randy Wilson.
Yes.
So, what is your grind?
You know, I really thought about that driving down here today because I checked out a lot of your previous interviews, and I was like, man, what's my grind? When I think about my grind, I think about, you know, all the things I'm doing.
Right.
But I think for me, my grind are really the sentiments of what make me do anything. It's the pieces. My grind is the pieces of what motivates me. You know, just knowing that people depend on me.
Right.
Knowing that I have a son and I have a wife. Knowing that I have a family, I have employees. You know, knowing that I got responsibilities. My grind is all the things that break me down to really do.
So your family.
Of course, yeah, that's number one.
And then the people that depend on you.
Yes.
So you see that as what motivates you to grind.
Yes.
And it becomes.
Yeah, because I mean, grind. That I like the word in a lot of ways, but you know.
Well, what does grind mean to you?
I mean, grind means to me what I would imagine it means to everyone else from the standpoint. It means to go hard and to go to do. But for me, to go and do, it's the things that's most important to me that make me do that. Otherwise, I just do whatever I wanted to do. You know, so for me, to be accountable and to be dependable is those things that matter the most. That's what pushed me with the grind.
Right.
I don't know if our guest today really needs that much of an introduction. Deshauna Barber, Miss USA 2016. But extremely more than just Miss USA. When I was doing some research on Deshauna Barber, I seen Black Girl Magic come up a couple times. And there's a lot of people out there that really look to Deshauna as a mentor, as a leader. She's a public speaker. She's a servant. She serves in the military reserve. She has a lot of credentials. Deshauna was crowned Miss USA 2016, and she represented the United States at Miss Universe in 2016, where she also placed amongst the top 9 finalists, if I'm correct. Now, if I mess up, Deshauna, feel free to interrupt me, okay? Because this here is new for me. I was interested in doing this because it's going to help. Most of my following is men. And it's going to help me reach a demographic of females who obviously are going to, you know, look to you in a great way. Virginia State University alumni. I also attended Virginia State as well.
I didn't know
Long
that.
time ago. Yep. Deshauna graduated with a degree in business management. I believe you have other education, master's degree, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Tell me where that's from.
It's University of Maryland University College. It's
Okay.
Master's of Science in Computer Information Systems.
Okay. So y'all say she's smart. She's smart, and then we're going to learn about how she's utilizing that education in the military, because I think there is, in some ways, what do you do in the military exactly?
Logistics. So
Does those skills transfer?
kind of. I mean, back when I was a previous unit that I was working for, there were a lot of computer systems we were using. So, but
Okay.
I think right now it kind of doesn't translate because I'm actually at Howard University's ROTC program, one of their cadre members.
Okay.
So I help teach leadership courses to the cadets that will be future officers of the Army.
Okay,
So,
great. Well, it's a lot for us to learn here.
So Miss USA out of the past 4 years, 3 of the Miss USAs, including myself, have been black. Now, when you go over to Miss America organization, now that's a different story.
Okay.
Diversity is not something that they have had a lot of.
I think let's go ahead and let our audience know what is
The
the difference
difference.
between Miss USA and Miss America.
So Miss America's older. Miss America was founded in like 1912, 13, 14, whatever. Not officially sure when they were founded because that's not my lane. But Miss America was founded in the early 1900s, and they had a issue where they I think they removed the swimsuit portion, or something happened where they had an issue with the swimsuit sponsor back in like 1960 something, I think 1964. And the swimsuit sponsor and the Miss America organization got into some sort of disagreement. And eventually the swimsuit company branched off and created their own pageant, which
Okay.
eventually became the Miss USA pageant.
Okay.
So that's one. Miss America's older by like 50 years.
Okay.
Secondly, Miss America has a talent. Miss USA does not, thank God, because I do not have a talent to offer them. So I was really happy that they don't have a talent.
Well, we're going to argue that. I mean, clearly.
There's something out there, but their talents are usually based in like singing,
Okay.
piano,
so you can't,
dancing.
So you don't sing?
I don't sing.
You don't dance?
I don't dance like that. No, I don't dance like that.
But
No,
you
that's-
speak very well.
I speak
You're
well,
a,
but I mean,
master communicator.
Right.
And that's probably a requirement of Miss USA. I mean,
It
I'm
is
assuming
now.
it's philanthropy, community service.
yeah. I think the type of talent that they're looking for that actually wins the competition is not something I'd be able to provide them.
Okay.
So I'm appreciative of the fact that that's not the organization that I joined. Also, the Miss America organization is a nonprofit. They offer a hefty amount of scholarships. Miss USA is not. It's a for-profit organization. Miss USA, we don't all necessarily have a look, but we kind of do have a look. We're all pretty tall, slim, females, ones that can probably transition into modeling.
Okay.
Miss America, they usually pick the girl next door.
Okay.
She doesn't have a certain look to her. And what else is there? Miss America, I would consider to be a very traditional pageant. Miss USA, not so traditional.
Okay.
So that's the best that I can give it without like throwing shade or not throwing shade or
Yeah.
putting one tier above the other.
Yeah.
But Miss America, in my opinion, has not had a lot of diversity when it comes to its winners. Miss USA, we are becoming more diverse. There's still so much that we can do.
One of my first kids, well, he grown now, is Diedrich Epps. When I first graduated from college, I was in my early 20s and he was maybe 16. So helping them, mentoring them, and just helping them, become a man. He ended up playing at Miami University and had 3 or 4 years playing the NFL. That was so much special to me because that was one of my first. It felt so good that you mentor a kid and then now they played in the NFL. That was just amazing experience, and I just want to see these kids grow, and that's pretty much it for real.
Yeah. I think it's important to highlight the success of former athletes, because as we're talking about the new generation of student athletes that's coming through, it's good to kind of help give them a vision for where they can go.
Yes.
And you've had a lot of guys, I feel like, though, that's played basketball overseas as well, haven't you?
Yes. It's another one of my favorite student athletes is Aaron Mitchell. He was one of the first ones that I helped through the whole process, through placing him in college, junior college. From junior college, he went to Manatee Community College. He was a lefty, kind of undersized guard, but he was so athletic, you know. So we put a team in the pro-am. When I had him in the pro-am when he was 17 years old, so they was going against like Ben Wallace and Robert Parkway Johnson, Tyree Evans. They was going against the top-notch players, you know. So I put him in the pro-am. He did well. He played at Manatee. Then he signed with Longwood University, and then after that, you know, he had an agent. You know, I ain't say it didn't work out, but sometimes when you playing at that pro level, it's a different breed, and you know, cause that's when you start your livelihood, with your career. Yeah. You know, so I was just, you know, playing on the phone, and I talked to an agent, and it was somewhere in Europe or Pakistan or something. And then when I started talking to him, I gave him Aaron's number. Since then, when Aaron connected with him, he's been playing for the last 7 years overseas. Wow. You know, so it's just connecting with people and putting kids and young grown men and women out there.
Yeah, that's amazing. A little bit, and just getting you to kind of share with us, share with the audience a little bit about how you originally got in the entertainment business.
Right. Yeah, so I met Jay-Z back in 1992. And this is before he had the deal, before people knew who he was, really. You know, he had a couple of things, but out Hawaiian Sophie and different things that he did back then. But nobody really knew about Jay. If you knew about him then, you was really into hip-hop for real. So, you know, I always saw something in Jay. He was a talented guy back then. We used to drive from New York to like Maryland. In 2 hours, he'll just freestyle nonstop. I mean, the guy's just rapping for 2 hours, and I'm like, dang, this dude he can go. Like for 2 hours, we're driving, and he just rapping the whole time. So, you know, it's crazy, man, when you see that, man. So we began to develop an awesome friendship. He dated my sister. They dated. They were involved with each other for quite some time. I actually did a song called Song Cry, and we were speaking about her.
That's your sister?
That's my sister, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was her. Stephanie's her name. I tell people all the time, he was going to marry Stephanie, but she couldn't sing as good as Beyonce, so he chose Beyonce over Stephanie because Beyonce had the voice, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, we developed an awesome friendship, man, and when Jay-Z began to make moves in the record industry and some things were happening, I came to him. I had a vision, and I was like, yo, you going to make it big one day. And when you make it big, I want to be the dude to do your after parties. He was like, what is that? I'm like, yo, after you do your concerts, I want to do the after party. He was like, okay, bet. So I never forget it, man. We was in Hampton, Virginia, man. And he came to me. He was like, yo, you still want to do those parties? And I said, yeah. He said, bet. We going on tour. And that was the Hard Knock Life tour. I was like, bet, man. You know what I'm saying? Yo, let me tell you something. That was history, man. I mean, 1999, we got DMX. We got the Rough Rider movement. We got Redman, Method Man. We got Jay-Z on the same stage. Oh, God.
So you telling me at that time now, Jay-Z's huge at that time, though, right?
Well, not really. Like, he's coming into. He's not huge yet. Like, he's coming into.
Are you working with other artists at that time as well, doing club promotions or?
Well, what happened was, so Jay-Z.
Because, I mean, it sounds like you went straight to, you're saying he's not quite there yet.
Right.
But you're there. You are him at the same place.
We did.
He's dating your sister.
Yeah.
So, like, are there other artists that are, like, under him or above him that you're working with?
No. So at this point, he opened the door for me to touch other folks.
Okay.
So when they saw me work with him and the success, it opened the doors for a lot of other people. And when that happened, it was just, man, it was amazing.
The Erasing Institutional Bias is actually the sequel to my first book, so it's my second book. My first one was Overcoming Bias, and that was an independent study in identifying your own unconscious bias and how to deal with it. And so the follow-up, Erasing Institutional Bias, if we're willing to accept that humans are biased, which we all are, then so are the institutions that we build. And sometimes, we are creating barriers to inclusion without intending to. And so what this does is it allows people within organizational context, whether you're the CEO or not, even if you're an individual contributor, it helps you identify and understand what is actually bias and what isn't within the context of an organization or a system, a community, and then helps you, actually empowers you to be able to affect change regardless of where you are within the institution. So that's, all of my books are written as like practical application tools. I love like self-help books. I love things that help me improve. I hate it when people point out a damn problem and then don't tell me what to do. They're like, everything is broken. The sky is falling. We're all going to hell in a handbasket. Congratulations. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm scared now, right? Yeah. So everything I've created is designed to help people move forward. And for me, the most significant contribution of that book, of Erasing Institutional Bias, is the last 2 chapters, which include something called retribution bias. And that is the human tendency to favor punishment over rehabilitation, punishment over community. And it goes deep into the American criminal justice system and how it disproportionately affects people of color. There's there's a huge, big, gnarly, disgusting bias built right into our criminal justice system. And because we think someone's a bad guy or they did something wrong, we're happy to allow just criminal acts and, just abject behavior and horrible, inhumane things to happen to our fellow man and woman and gender nonconforming folks because we can't see it, because we're, undereducated and underexposed. So the idea was to expose some of that and empower people to do something about it.
You've definitely done a good job at that. Tell everyone where they can find that book.
So all of my books are available everywhere books are sold. That makes me so happy. So Barrett Kohler, BK Publishers is my publisher, and we're distributed by Penguin Random House, which is the largest distributor in the world. So you can go to Barnes & Noble. If it's not on the shelf, you can ask for it. But any bookstore, independent or otherwise, Amazon, Google, you can get it everywhere.
So moving on to our guest today, Pretty Boy, also known as Pretty Boy Baby on Instagram. He is an old school, new school R&B artist out of Norfolk, Virginia. His sound is authentic and nostalgic at the same time, bringing us that 90s flavor, but with that millennium swag. Pretty Boy, it's crazy just to see the impact of what your music has. I learned about you from the Young Money Yon interview.
Right.
But then I started checking out your Instagram, and I was like, man, this guy has some real raw talent. Like, can you just give us a little background in regard to how you got into the music game?
It started like when I was 7, 8 years old. My mom used to sing in the house, and she used to play all these old records. And I used to be in the room listening to her like, damn, I wonder what she in there doing. So I go in her room, and she'll be in front of the mirror singing, listening to like Prince and Whitney Houston and stuff like that. So that led me to start listening to those songs and kind of doing the same thing she was doing, like waiting for them to leave and getting in front of the mirror and doing the same thing.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you if the lady that I see you sing with on Instagram was your mother, but she looks so young. That's your mother?
Yeah, that's my mother.
Your mother's beautiful, man. Like y'all have a interesting chemistry together. Do y'all perform together?
Nah, we never perform together. She got to get over stage fright.
Yeah.
Once she do that, she'll be all right.
Yeah, your mom, y'all can sing.
I am Jamal Bickley King. I wear multiple hats and I do a lot of different work depending on who hires me. For the most part, for money, I am a data technology consultant in politics and the progressive movement, usually facing people of color organizations, nonprofits, sometimes corporations, and sometimes countries. And then then I have like a different role in the progressive movement. I am the chairman, president, and co-founder of New Virginia Majority, which is the anchor progressive organization that does a lot of work in the C3 and C4 space. And we do a lot of stuff in people of color activation, voter registration, restoration of rights, environmental justice, climate justice, immigration work, which is one of our core things that we do. And then there's a host of other things. I like to think of our office as like the progressive United Nations. There's like literally every wing of the progressive movement is represented there, and it's been good so far.
Coming out of prison, being in prison, so many organizations come in and say that we're going to do for us. But then when you get out here, you don't find them. Mm-hmm. They don't be just as committed as they are when they come inside. So when I was there, I used to call home, and I used to call guys who went home. And I used to ask them, what about this resource, that resource? They said, man, I left about 5 messages, they never called me back. Mm-hmm. Or they'll have you come here and, find some paperwork and then send you on your way, and then that's it. They need aftercare, not just today, but tomorrow. Somebody that's going to be invested every single day of their life until they get some order where they're able to help and stand on their own 2 feet and be relevant. So it's a lot of organizations, that, say they're for the returning citizen, the quote unquote returning citizen. But I've come to find out that there's a lot of predatory organizations too, meaning that they're just about the monies that's behind reentry.
Yeah. And while incarcerated, you created a system on behalf of how people would reenter into the community, correct?
Definitely.
Can you speak a little bit about the transition? I mean, you're talking over 20-some years of you being in a situation where you're seeing time in and time out, people come in, people go out. You're seeing it. I'm curious to what changes you've seen. I'm curious to what you did that contributed to improving the change, and I'm curious over that period of time, in regard to where it was, like where it is. What does it actually look like today? Because what I know is, from a reentry standpoint, it starts when you're inside, and if they're not doing the work when you're on the inside and coming out and getting benefits and those things, it's just not going to happen.
Well, so when I first come to prison, I was a young kid. I come in, not knowing what to expect. Well, then again, I have to change that, because I look at my father. My father was a mover and shaker, meaning he was a guy in the streets, and I didn't meet him till I was 20. And I had my mother's husband, which is I don't call him a stepfather, because insanity, the movement that I started in prison, we don't use the terminology stepfather. We use it father that stepped up, because it takes a hell of a man to raise another man's child. So my dad.
Take a note on that.
Okay.
So, I'm taking a note on that. Keep going. Yeah.
So my dad, my father that stepped up would try to get me ready for college, military, because he was a military man, while my biological father, he was a street guy, so he tried to get me ready for something else. So he schooled me to prison, because I was a street dude too. So he schooled me to prison and understandings of what goes on in prison, the politics. So when I get to prison, I knew a little bit of what to expect, and a lot I didn't. But when I first got there, everything was physical. Everything was physical. I don't care what it was. It was a violent environment. Everything was physical. They didn't have any reentry programs. They had, DOC hallway for GEDs, the likes of that. But they didn't have anything, concrete that really helped people with their transition of coming back home. Because it was a time when all you got from DOC was a bus ticket and $25, and they leave the light on for you.
I think you're the first time I've had a conversation with a best-selling author. Now I'm having it with 2. What was the process like? Like, was it? I imagine that you just had a lot of conversations, probably. But how did it transfer to the book?
I mean, I feel like it was. I'm just gonna be so honest. I feel like there was a lot of texting. And it felt like writing a really long paper. Yes. That's what it felt like. It was just regular.
You sound like some real writing artists. I mean, they just texting and you just like it's like an artist going into just freestyle and just messing around, and all of a sudden I'm gonna make this an album. I'm gonna make this a song.
Tell Randy the story about when you asked me, all right, Tiffany, how are we gonna do this? How do you want to write this book? Because I had only written one book before, but I have this. I'm obsessed with version control. If you're writing a book writing anything with another person, like back in the day, you had the word processor, and you had to send a Word document, and then you send it, and now you edit it, and then if I edit at the same time, we got to figure out who edited what. Yeah. We have Google Drive now. Yeah. We don't have to do that. So I was like, let's just write the book in Google Drive. It works for me. I've done it before. So what was your reaction?
And so this was a moment of me confronting my own white supremacy, my own delusion of white supremacy. So, I've been to like 85,000 years of graduate school, which, and graduate school is its own form of white supremacy. And at UVA, University of Virginia, has it's special there.
Yeah, very special place.
We could do its own podcast on white supremacy at UVA, but.
You want to go there and do it?
No, I'm good. I like Richmond. I'm fine.
Show up on the lawn.
Yeah, I might have flashbacks.
We'll need security for that one.
Right, exactly. So for me,
I think we took you hostage. You was
right.
2 black people. I
feel like you gotta help that little white lady.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I'm gonna
Blink
quickly
once.
like say your last name. Mejias. Then that might confuse them.
Yeah, they're just super confused.
But I think if we start looking at those basic values of freedom, mutual respect, justice, all of those things that are sort of the words we talk about, and the rails, the guide rails sort of change over time, don't they? And that each generation works on making those guide rails wider and broader. So it's not as if it's about creating bigger guide rails so that people, that there are more and more people that really understand that this is about some basic, and this sounds horrible, American things, that we are about this notion of justice, hardwired in. Racism, the racist is hardwired in too. The gender discrimination is hardwired in too, but at the core, there are these things that we want to believe about ourselves. And I actually can't, the things you can't get up in the morning and not believe is that that people at their hearts believe what's good. That in fact there's a right way. There are things you don't do to other people. There are things you don't say.
Many of us from the indoctrination learned that George Washington could never tell a lie and that he had wooden teeth, right? Neither of those things are true. He's a human being. He's lying at least 10 times a day, right? Science tells us this, whether it's a little white lie or a lie of omission or whatever it is, right? So, let's scrap that nonsense. But the wooden teeth thing is patently false. He had ivory teeth, and he had teeth that came from the enslaved for his false teeth. So then it becomes a slightly different conversation. And that's not to take away from the father of our country, right? He held this thing together when it could have easily fell apart in at least 13 different pieces. But it does say that even in the midst of all of this conversation around freedom and liberty and justice and all of that, that Black bodies were still considered disposable.
And now I'm at VCU finishing up my PhD in media art and text, and that will be done in May. So cool. Yeah, kind of like public scholars, kind of how I like to identify. So just really thinking about how can you utilize the resources of the academy to basically provide free access to knowledge. Cool. Because I know I'm one of the few that, are going to go into a PhD program coming from my background. And so I don't think that we need to constantly be thinking about college equals success, but also just how can the Black folks, queer folks that are in college, that are working in these university spaces kind of share resources publicly.
Cool.
Cool.
So. Well, I was really excited. I don't know any other, I've been out of school obviously a long time, but when I read the Bonner thing, that was...
Were you a Bonner scholar?
I was a Bonner scholar as well.
Shout out! Give me a little cheer. You don't have that.
Here, I'll do one.
Yes!
Wasn't one.
I do get super warm and fuzzy when I meet other Bonner scholars, or should I say Bonner alums.
Yeah.
Because that program, their mission is access to education through the opportunity to serve.
Yes.
And so I don't take credit for just I worked in a lot of nonprofits, and yes, I did do a lot of amazing work with nonprofits, but Bonner, that scholarship is what springboarded me to really think constantly about, or think simultaneously about education and service.
Yes.
Literally because, we had to work with nonprofits throughout our undergraduate career in order to get that
Yes. Which nonprofit did you work with?
I worked with Horizon Roof for a little bit, which is in Richmond.
Very familiar, North Side, yeah.
Yeah, they do prison reentry and ex-offender services. And they helped open 6 Points Innovation Center, which I'm now serving there as kind of the Black academic in residence.
So you probably know Zenobia Bay.
I do know Zenobia Bay.
I sit on her board.
Incredibly talented.
Yeah.
So shout out to Lyrics and Beats.
Yes. Their core audience, right?
Yes.
They have this sort of expectation of who you are or what kind of content that you present.
Yes.
And then you hit them with something different and they kind of, raise an eyebrow at you. And one thing that I would like to encourage you to do, which I'm sure I don't have to because you get it and we've spoken before, is do what you want. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and everybody who will start to come around or who will form around that will, and then that will be what you're about. You know what I'm saying? And then by you doing some of these different pieces that are, I don't really want to use the word off-brand, but we'll say off-brand for some people who have followed before. Yeah. It will serve, or it should serve, to broaden their horizons. Yes. And I feel like that's always kind of your job or your duty when presenting content, is to give somebody else a different perspective than what they would normally have. So keep doing that, man. Yeah, bring them historians on. As long as they ain't dry, that's it.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
You know, man.
That's definitely been the goal. I mean, I've learned through this experience that I've learned who my core audience is. Yeah. I mean, our community supports me by far the most.
Facts.
The creatives in the community. And I want to be a leader on behalf of making sure that I push their content. In reverse, I also want to be a leader in making sure that I expose them to things that may be left or right than their typical vision. Yeah. And so I'm hopeful that people respect me as a podcaster.
As a journalist. And that's the part of this that people kind of get lost in or forget about, is that this is journalism, you know? So sometimes you won't get the typical stuff. You get what a journalist is supposed to do. Yeah. You know, they ask the questions they're supposed to ask. They talk to the people who they feel like who are important to talk to, and you bring that to the masses. So yeah, man.
Yeah, my goal is that people recognize me as the best interviewer in the city.
There you go.
And then and not only the city, but on the internet.
That be happening for me, bro. It just happened off me being me. And I tell a lot of niggas, you don't believe it or not, though, a lot of situations come for me off of this gym, bro. I'm really telling you some real shit, bro. If you really was with me every day, you'd be like, the gin made them fuck with him. Him drinking with them boys made them. I promise you, bro.
That's the social piece of it.
I don't come around niggas saying I rap, listen to this song. I don't do that shit. I be me. And people fuck with me. Then they get to seeing my videos after they follow my Instagram and be like, oh, this nigga snap. Oh, he going crazy. Oh, that's a hit. Da da da. So I don't come around. I come around to give you who I am. Like, I'm my own person. Yeah. And people just rock with me. So that really what got me to Rolling Loud. Like, my situation and my brother, we went on tour together, Bad Hunter Izzy. And we became close like this because we was on the same label together, but it's other niggas on that label that I won't like this with. It's just bro, and me and bro just was like this. Like, he really like, he'll tell you that I'm his favorite rapper. Like, he'll tell you that, like, and bro bigger. Like, he's up there. So we went on tour together, and they put us on Rolling Out. Ski Mask went, and bro gave him a set. So, of course, every show on the tour, like, we performing 3 songs that I made, like, on the stage. We're only doing about 8 of them. Yeah. So we going up, and Rolling Loud, that shit really, like, I walk out there, and every show, everywhere I go, I straight say, Young Crazy from North of Virginia, and this what I'm on, and I say what I say, and then we go into it. But that shit, they really went up though, and I always
35 cities?
Wanting to do.
Did you do it? Was that the beginning of the 35 city tour? Because I know you did a 35 city tour.
That shit was at the end.
That was the end.
After my birthday in September, we started in the end of July or maybe August beginning.
Man, y'all was moving to do 35 cities. That's like
we went
3-4 months.
Tour bus, man.
I saw y'all in Texas, and I saw y'all in the middle of the desert, and all kind of pictures.
Overheated. The tour bus overheated right by the border. I'm talking about we seeing the border, bro. Like, we can see the border.
Speak to the Petersburg rap scene.
Like, it ain't just me. Like, it ain't. I got people like my cousin Buki, All Wild Buki. His beat name, Divine Sound.
Yeah, can you shout out the IG as well so people can be familiar with it?
His IG name Buki All Wild, Bookie AllWYLD. But he produced, he rap, mixing master, engineer. Like, when they see us, I recorded that with him. The song Quantum Rondo. Gangsta music, I recorded that with him. The song with Young Blue. So it's like, it ain't just me.
Oh, okay.
And it's a lot of people around me that it's like, we don't even have to be around each other. And I done been through things with these people, but at the same time, it's like when it come to, it's like business, you got business and you got feelings. When it come to business, like, we won't let nothing stop it. So we just keep going, and every time we do something or we drop something, it's like, it's great, like, every time. So it ain't just me.
Yeah.
It's God. Because he the one that's still keeping the relationship strong enough to even let us keep on pushing forward and just prevailing for real. So that's all it is.
That's real. That's respect,
It's, more,
man.
it's bigger than me. It's more than me.
I believe you, man.
There was people backstage that was waiting to see me, and there was people waiting to see him, and
Yeah.
it was I guess the coincidence of it, but
Yeah.
or the irony of us doing the same thing. But it was real brief, nothing nothing too crazy. I ended up talking to one of his guards later, and they was like, yeah, yo, I'm glad you performed the joints you performed. We were listening to them joints on the bus and stuff, so I was like, oh, that's fire.
Yeah.
But you know, that was just like a thing. But
Yeah.
other than that, that whole night was just like you said, it was one for the city though. Like that was more. That wasn't really even about me.
It was a Monday night, I believe, right? It was a Tuesday night.
I don't even
I just know whatever night it was of the week, we hadn't had a night like that.
Nah, it never been. You know, I really, you know, I'm a real chill dude. Like, and I appreciate like all the, you know, kind things you said. But like, I'm a real just down to earth dude, and like, I'm just thankful for the things I've like been able to see and experience, and more so just like how people, how people feel about me. Like the connections I have with people are genuine.
Yeah.
So it's like it does, you know, I understand that goes a long way, but being an artist, you know, and someone that's seen this game for such a long time, I just want to make sure that like I represent, you know, the era that I come from, the era, like what I've seen. Like I can't just act like we had all this type of access before in our life or any of that, yo. It's like, nah, yo, like Richmond artists don't really even play the national in that fashion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it might just be like you might have paid some money and that's how that happened. Nah, this wasn't one of those things.
Yeah.
And I felt that was really more about the city. So I want, you know, and I just wanted to make sure I went up there and made sure I gave people an experience that they could like go, you know, say they was there to see, you know.
Let's shoot the police. Might sound like the crime raging. My dope is out of control. The fake niggas out of your foe. Eat with the ones you got it with when you's out in the cold. Sun be blessing my soul. Swear be spiritual. God
Welcome back
bless
to episode
material.
26
Promise
of the
to always
Randy
stay
Wilson
lyrical. Purple
podcast,
mind,
being brought to you today by our sponsor, Randolph Focus. We are at Gather, located at 303 East Broad Street in Richmond, Virginia. Sitting down with the hip-hop emperor of the city, Mike Millions.
Peace. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, Mike. Hey, today's show is going to be themed King to Emperor.
Oh.
And we look forward to getting into that today. Most recently, and again, I'm just the internet, you know, I be nosy, but it appeared to me that you recently engineered the 2019 wrap-up from Skills. Is that correct?
Yeah. I've been working with Skills for a while now. So.
Yeah. Been on one of Skills' tracks before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not a lot of artists who can say they have, and Mike's one of those artists. Not only that, Mike, and again, as I'm kind of closing out the introduction, I want to be really nosy today to learn about whatever was going on when you and DJ Green Lantern was together, because to me that was super. Like I was like, I seen DJ. First off, I recognized that was Green. It took me a while to recognize that was Green Lantern on stage with Nas.
Right.
And you know, let's just get into that because let's just go there, because when you opened up for Nas, if I'm correct, that was such a fast-paced, moving situation. Did you get a chance to chop it up with Nas, or?
Nah, not really. I mean, nothing outside of just like, you know, just quick link up, dap up, and keep it moving. Because we was kind of both doing the same thing at the same time. There was people backstage that was waiting to see me, and there was people waiting to see him. And it was I guess the coincidence of it, but or the irony of us doing the same thing. But it was real brief, nothing too crazy. I ended up talking to one of his guards later, and they was like, yeah, yo, I'm glad you performed the joints you performed. We were listening to them joints on the bus and stuff, so I was like, oh, that's fire.
Yeah.
But you know, that was just like a thing. But other than that, that whole night was just like you said, it was one for the city though. Like that was more. That wasn't really even about me.
It was a Monday night, I believe, right? It was a Tuesday night. I just know whatever night it was of the week, we hadn't had a night like that.
Nah, it never been. You know, I really, you know, I'm a real chill dude. Like
the podcast, I accept it. I tell some lies sometimes. I tell people things. I try to be honest, Sambo, but sometimes I be enjoying the moment. I probably be rocking hard, too hard.
Too hard.
This is a real transparent moment. Like G Sambo, like y'all heard me say a lot of things, but G Sambo was like really putting Virginia on his back. I didn't say Richmond.
Yeah.
I didn't say Petersburg. I didn't say Fredericksburg. He'll be in Virginia Beach tonight performing with a black youngster. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's what he do. He's killing it right now in Atlanta. He got a song. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. He gonna tell you what it is because he don't give a.
Really don't give a fuck.
You know, that's the song. You know what I'm saying? And he got Ren and Stimpy out. He got a.
I got Life After Life out. I got a documentary about to drop that's on the way. I got a movie about to drop too, but they're gonna be after my documentary.
You got a lot going on, G Simbo, and like as I was telling you before the interview, you know, I can just be in an everyday, ordinary coffee shop talking to somebody about artists and who's doing what. You know, everybody's talking about hip hop. G Sambo is the guy. Everyone is looking at and saying, you know what? He really is living his life after life. And that's kind of where I want to start. Because if I understand, I watched your show, I think it was the Cloud podcast or something. It might not have been the Cloud. It was a show you did recently here in Richmond. And you was talking a little bit about life after life.
Yeah.
And if I'm correct, you had a juvenile life sentence.
Yeah, I served juvenile life at 12 years old. 12 to 20. I got a song called that. I did 12 to 20.
On the podcast. I accept it. I tell some lies sometimes. I tell people things. I try to be honest, Sambo, but sometimes I be enjoying the moment. I probably be rocking hard, too hard.
Too hard.
This is a real transparent moment. Like G Sambo, like y'all heard me say a lot of things, but G Sambo was like really putting Virginia on his back. I didn't say Richmond.
Yeah.
I didn't say Petersburg. I didn't say Fredericksburg. He'll be in Virginia Beach tonight performing with a black youngster. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, that's what he do. He's killing it right now in Atlanta. He got a song. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. He gonna tell you what it is because he don't give a.
Really don't give a fuck.
You know, that's the song. You know what I'm saying? And he got Ren and Stimpy out. He got a.
I got Life After Life out. I got a documentary about to drop that's on the way. I got a movie about to drop too, but they're gonna be after my documentary.
You got a lot going on, G Simbo, and like as I was telling you before the interview, you know, I can just be in an everyday, ordinary coffee shop talking to somebody about artists and who's doing what. You know, everybody's talking about hip hop. G Sambo is the guy. Everyone is looking at and saying, you know what? He really is living his life after life.
I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who took out their time out of your very busy schedule to be here today. As I said earlier, I think it's powerful when you have great men who come together to synergize and do great works. It does definitely speak volume. And so thank you for that. And to everyone out there who believes that you have some stumbling block or some things that are preventing you from being who you want to be, I'm here to let you know that you can do it. Honestly, if you want to be great, the road to greatness comes with a whole lot. But your tenacity and determination and your ability to keep going, regardless of what comes your way, is what will make you who you are. Don't give up. You want to be a leader? You can do it. You want to be a governor? You can do it. You want to be a hip-hop artist? You can do it. You want to be so great? You can do it. Just keep your head up and never give up, no matter the crucibles that may come your way. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Make sure you give them your social media.
My social media.
Websites, all that stuff.
Well, my website is princessholiday.com. And I also have empowerafricainitiative.com. Plus, I have my book that's coming up titled Not Afraid to Lead.
Say that I was blessed enough to have the longevity to where doing what I'm doing now makes sense. I think earlier in my career, I was so caught up in the hustle and bustle of trying to make it happen, of trying to build the brand to be in the place that I'm in now. So, you know, as much as I love my family, sometimes when I look back on my life, I probably could have spent a little bit more time back then. But because I'm blessed enough now, number one. Number two is another major thing was when I got sick. You know, when I got sick, you know, you look at life from a different lens. And I really realized what was important and what wasn't. So If I had to give anybody any advice, don't wait until you get to that point. Don't wait until you're sick to realize how important, your family is.
Yeah.
Which, let me say, I knew my family was important before I got sick, so I didn't want that line to say.
Yeah, but it was a chain. It was something. It impacted your life, obviously.
Most definitely. I mean, I've DJed a lot of parties in my life. DJed a lot of parties in the city. Sold out a lot of parties in the city. And when I found out that I got cancer, you would think that, my phone would be blowing up and people would be checking on you. But more people talked about me having cancer than
talk to you.
Yeah, talk to me to make sure I was good. The time frame between finding out that I had cancer and waiting for the results was probably the loneliest time in my life. You know what I'm saying? But the one blessing was having my wife, because my wife was there beside me. I was in the bed. I really couldn't do much. She laid there in that bed with me. We laid there. I remember playing like the iPhone games and all that stuff. I promise you, man, I was at such a peaceful place at that moment. If that was the end, they could have rolled the credits and it would have been a perfect ending for me. You know what I'm saying? So, but I say that to say, man, it was a hard pill to swallow when I thought back, like, damn, you would think that more people would reach out to you and all those other things. So it's really important to have a lady in your life, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because she was the main reason why I went to the doctor. So.
Yeah. Well, shout out to her, man. What's your wife's name?
Leah.
Leah Battle. Shout out to her. Yeah. So basically, you're saying once disrespect comes into the art, it makes it difficult to respect the art.
I'm just saying, you biting, and you old enough to know you biting, nigga.
Okay. All right.
Like, you ain't no young boy. You biting, nigga. Let's keep it all the way a buck.
Yeah.
You biting. Like here's the thing. You gonna say, you said, like, ain't nobody trying to hear his shit. Only niggas only know you for doing one song a year. And you took the concept of doing what niggas know you for? Yeah. The same shit they know me for, nigga.
Just trolled, basically.
So, to the kids, they like all of the tea and the drama and the shade.
Yeah.
I get it. And my shit is, you know what I'm saying? I'm never gonna get on a song and say, you know what I'm saying, straight out the gate, like, fuck niggas, da-da-da-da, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop.
Yeah.
Because I understand the you know what I'm saying, what could happen from that.
Yeah.
So it's like, and if I don't really feel that way, I ain't doing it just to do it. Yeah. If I really don't fuck with you, I'm going to say it. And when I see you, I expect something to happen. I ain't going to do it and then see you at the awards and be like, oh, my nigga, I was just trolling. Like, nigga, trolling is lying. Let's clear that up. If you trolling, you saying something to get attention and you don't expect nothing for it. I hate the term of that shit.
Yeah.
I hate the term that all these, like, these new people saying these words. I'm like, that nigga, that's lying. We call that lying where I'm from.
Yeah.
And you an old ass nigga. Nigga, you old as fuck. You know you. I can see if a nigga like, yo, I'm a new nigga, I'm 20, you know what I'm saying? We ain't even calling it weed no more, nigga. We call it broccoli, nigga. And you like, somebody already did that. Like, E40 and them, they been calling it weed broccoli since the fucking, you know what I mean? Like, so, but you got this and you don't use it in a positive way. You use it to look at a bunch of nut ass shit all day. But then you think you created something, and then when somebody tell you, you know you ain't the first nigga that came up with that, you like, oh, nigga, you hating. Like, no, nigga, I'm actually telling you the truth. Like an OG would tell you.
Yeah, though, today about DJ Crush Groovy. What's going on, boss?
What's going on, Randy?
Man, it's a pleasure to have you on here, man. This is exclusive for the city.
I appreciate you letting me come up in here. You know what I mean?
More than for the city, bro. This is for the world. Because
No
you
question.
famous. Like, you all over, bro.
A little something, man. You know what I mean? I've seen the last couple interviews you done done. Immaculate.
Thank you, bro.
I got to say that. Like at the Line of V one, I had to watch like 2-3 times.
Word, man. I appreciate that, man. It's I'm doing a lot of talking. These brothers, though, Randolph Focus, Double Productions, they making it look good.
Right. Shout out to the man behind the camera, not the man that's in front of the camera.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
And that's deserved all the time. I'm sure as a DJ, you probably experience that yourself. You know what I'm saying? You making the club jump. You making it pop. It may be someone else's party, but it's because of you a lot of times that
it's moving.
It's moving like that.
No, it is because of me, because it's moving.
Yeah, man. And it looks like you moving around a lot, Crush.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That was one of the reasons why I was super excited to sit down. We've been talking back and forth for a minute, but like, you know,
you just watch your gram, and it's like, man, you with all the celebrities, in and out. I mean, you're doing things different than like typical DJs. You traveling across the world.
I'm trying to move around like I'm a rapper.
Yeah. So I mean, like, can you give us the ingredients to this success, man? Because you said you've been DJing about what, 9-10 years?
Yeah, I've been 2011. Yeah, I was a barber prior to me being a DJ.
I have realized my place and my position and my voice, and so I can accept all those things.
I'm sure you had good raising. You know, I'm sure your parents brought you up right.
Yeah.
But what are all the ingredients that you have obtained throughout the years to put into the Kelly Lemon that we see today?
I think it is being extremely transparent. I have shown people my good and my bad, and I think that has given me a following. I have been blessed to be raised, using the word privileged right now does apply to, majority white. But I've been blessed growing up. My parents were, they were given some things that a lot weren't, and they made sure that they told me how they got it, and then planted that work ethic in me to work harder than them, and they worked hard. So work harder than them, and create everything that I want. I mean, create what I want.
Yes.
My daddy was like, oh, let's do this. Like, anything that I have ever wanted, my parents have said, all right, let's figure out how to do it.
We've seen that. We've seen your daddy and his involvement with the Urban Hang Suites development too.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a key person.
He built it.
Yeah.
I mean, he built it. I could not afford a construction company.
I watched a documentary on the gangster, Joey Gallo, when I was younger, like extremely younger, maybe 13, 14. And I just seen how meticulous he was about his respect and nobody getting over on him. Like, I remember them telling a story about how one time he was in like a card game or some type of gambling situation as a kid, and somebody got over on him for like $5. And he came back 20 years later and shot the dude in the kneecaps in the bathtub. And yeah, that's graphic, but the point is he was meticulous about his money. He was meticulous about respect. And that aspect of it kind of like gravitated to me. So I said, yo, you know what? I think I'm going to run with this. The crazy part, here's the parallel universe, like the battle rapper Danny Meyer say. My uncles in Jersey told me that when my dad was ripping and running the street, that was the name he went by.
For Joey Gallo?
Joey Gallo.
And you didn't even know that?
I didn't even know that. One of my uncles was like, yo, where you get that name from, like a long time ago? And I was like, yo, tell him the whole story. He was like, man, that's what we used to call your dad back in the day, Crazy Joey, because he used to do because Joey Gallo, the mobster Joey Gallo, he was crazy.
Yeah.
Like he would go off the handle quick, hence the story I just told. And he was like, yo, that's what we used to call your dad. So it's just funny. Then when I went to my pops, he was like, yeah, that's crazy. And I was like, yo, that's crazy.
That's crazy. I had to see what was behind the name. It's always interesting to me to learn how people, people arrive with their name, their artist name.
Man, I had so many corny names too prior to that. Sheesh, we're not going down there.
Yeah,
you know how that go.
It's been Joey Gallo for 20 years at least, right?
Facts.
So, so many places. Before we get into talking about the new album and Blue Collar Gang, the label, you got the Golden Chariots and the Golden Chariots. Am I saying that right?
Golden Chariots, yeah.
And the Gallery. Those are the two albums that I'm most familiar with. The recent projects.
Okay. So when we dropped it, so I dropped 2 singles on the day, right? It was Don't Know with Nasty C and Animals.
That's crazy too, by the way.
And they were 1 and 2. They were 1 and 2 all weekend, or 1 and 2, And the funny thing is, I mean, yo, you got Benny the Butcher on the charts, bro. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
But you know what, Randy, I wanted to ask you, right? Because I've noticed something. I've noticed that I mean, I'm sure you've seen it as well, that there's a real kind of resurgence of like lyricism, right? Of like craft, of people really going, okay, you know what, man? I see all the stuff that charts, and I see the trap, and I see all this other cool stuff that's happening. But there seems to be a real, like, people still kind of want to hear authentic kind of, lyric heavy hip hop, right?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you now. Yeah. What do you think? If you think that's true, and then why do you think that is?
Thank you for asking that. So I'm a boom bap hip hop head. Like I only like bars. I don't like. Well, let me stop. Let me turn it. I am learning,
right,
to embrace and understand sounds and rhythms, and I feel that with a lot of this younger trap music now. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the wave. I know you've worked with a lot of phenomenal artists, but is there one that particularly stands out that you feel like y'all just got that connection when y'all together?
Ferg.
Yeah.
Ferg.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like 15 hours in the studio. We used to do 15-hour sessions. And I remember I used to go in there and pour my drive up, and I remember like, he'll just like, play it, next one, play it, load it up, do that song, all right, play them, load it up, play them, load it up. Like, we did like 9 songs in like 15 hours, and we did them like 3 days in a row. Like, Ferg fucking works.
When I first dropped my first project, Genesis, back in 2014, a lot of people really was like, oh, Tyrone could rap.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was, it kind of went up and then it kind of went down a little bit. And I was just like stuck like in the valley for a minute, like, all right, how do I get back, And, and I was looking at like the Radio Bs and the Noah O's and things like that. It was kind of like, how do they, what are they, like their core fan base is strong. And I love it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, I want that. How do I get that? And I even was like in a like, I'm about to challenge, you know what I'm saying? I need to get better than these dudes. I need to get better than these dudes, which is good, you know what I'm saying? Not on a hate tip, but it's like, competition, like, you know what I'm saying? And then like after that conversation we had as well, first of all, I didn't realize how much our age gap is as well.
Drop your age.
29. I had to think
29?
about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they're not like ancient, but you know what I'm saying? They're older than me, you know what I'm saying? So, and they started way younger than I started, really taking it serious. I didn't take it serious till after college. 2014 was the, and so really just seeing like, okay, all right, like just studying, like, okay, I see what you did there.
It kind of helps you prospectively, I guess, see where you were
Yeah.
in regard to where you wanted to be,
Yeah.
I think you've been further along than maybe you. I don't know, man. It's good that you're not an arrogant person, but I think that you've been further along than maybe you positioned yourself.
Yeah, I actually, it took a lot for the confidence to build, because a lot of, even with this, like last night, 11:30, 30 minutes before I drop, I'm sitting there listening like, oh damn, I don't know. Is this song too fast? Is this song too much? Is this too loud? Do I need to push back? And I was like, and then I just like, I'm gonna just hold on, just calm down. I went and took another shower, and sat down. It was like, when I got out of the shower, it was 11:58. I was like, well, can't turn back now. So,
Damn,
and then,
you take some long ass showers.
I do. I was sitting out because I was stressing out. So I just sat in there like, water bill gonna be high, so whatever.
I came up by myself. Like I never worked for no radio station, no corporations, nothing like that. I never had nobody putting no money behind nothing I do. Everything come from my pocket, my grind, my network. So with that being said, like I just can make, like when they say, if you want something to happen, you got to make the first step, and I represent the artist. So like for real, I don't even care about other DJs other than dump off DJs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm cool with a lot of other DJs and not dump off, but I'm saying like at the end of the day, it was just a friendly challenge to get everybody to help, basically put some money in everybody's pocket.
Yeah.
Straight up.
This is why I say politicians don't always love me, because again, I championed Obama, but everything that's happened with family separation and ICE actually was created and put together by Obama. It wasn't implemented to the size by any means, but the structure that was allowed there, that was placed there, was Obama. And if we don't understand the struggle of what's happening with undocumented folks and immigrants with the border, then that's a whole other podcast. But we got to connect our struggle, especially from people of other lands that are seeking refuge. And so you're right. We've got to notice of when we can critique these people that are black or Republicans, right? And we can be like, oh, they sellouts. But in Richmond, everybody is a Democrat. Like, you're not going to win any political space pretending to be a Republican, okay? So now, that's why I don't really critique Republicans. You're not going to see me talking about 45.
All right, let me ask you that again. Then.
Yeah.
All right, so say that one more time. You don't think that in Richmond, I mean, you say Virginia?
Richmond. Richmond City.
Okay.
Richmond City.
Even if you're black? I almost feel like a black Republican might have a little bit more.
Why are you speaking this into?
And you produced Corey's first big song Second, okay.
Yeah,
that went viral on Facebook.
Right.
So I just kind of wanted to put that out there because you've kind of been with him throughout his journey from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And now you see the path that he's on, being signed by Pusha T. Can you speak particularly because you are Petersburg and you are Virginia, and Pusha T is kind of like I guess the governor of hip hop in Virginia right now to some degree.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think? What do you see? We talk about it all the time, but what do you see happening? Where do you feel like we are right now in this movement forward?
With my feet being
Virginia hip hop, yeah.
With my feet being on the ground, it's a wave here. I mean, everybody sees it. It's the elephant in the room. Pusha T coming back, you know, he sees a wave. You know, I can see that. And the fact that he even came all the way to Petersburg to grab an artist, and there's other artists that he's working with, speaks volumes.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that we've been doing this thing for a long time.
I'm gonna say LeBron. Oh, hey, I think Kobe. Man, Kobe just takes too many. He took too many shots from me.
Yeah.
Too many shots. I think LeBron is the full package. He can dominate defensively and offensively. I think he's, you know, I don't want to get into the Jordan, because I still think Jordan's still number one, but I think LeBron's number two.
Gotcha. So you clearly think Jordan is way above Kobe. Because if you go pick LeBron, I mean, we saw the second coming of Jordan with Kobe. Took a lot of shots. He just proved.
Now I know everybody wants to say that LeBron is just a more athletic Scottie Pippen, but I think LeBron is more dominant than Scottie Pippen ever was.
Yeah.
He is in that pantheon of, you know, Kobe, LeBron, Michael Jordan, people who can dominate the game. Wilt Chamberlain.
I would say he's a more dominant Magic Johnson just because his impact on the game is equivalent in every area that Magic's was, but he's a better scorer. And he can
Magic's in the pantheon as well. Yep.
I'd heard of Nicholas F. for years. I actually never heard any Nicholas F. music until it was on the Drake mixtape. And he's right here.
Yeah.
And that, you know, I can admit it. I mean, you know, the stuff of his that I've heard is dope.
Yeah.
Everybody that I know of raves about, had raved about him. I just never had the opportunity to listen. I just know that he had never sent me any music.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you earlier, I went through that phase where it's like, if you weren't sending it to me, I wasn't going to actively seek it.
Yeah.
So what's dope is I finally had an opportunity to play a record that had a Nicholas F. verse on it. You know, recently we're playing one now.
Yeah.
You know, Noah O.
Yeah.
I played maybe one of Noah's records before, but Noah is one of those guys where he used to work with me at the station.
Yeah.
He never came to me and said, hey, I need you to play this record. That wasn't his thing. He's one of those people where if he wanted it, you know, if we were going to play it, we were going to play it. Or I would go to him and say, yo, man, I like that record. Could you send me the clean?
We were on CBS 6 yesterday. Yesterday morning, I got a text from my mom. She was like, I saw you on the news. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Then Miss Murray, when I text her, she turned on, I think, Channel 12, Miss Murray, and saw us there. Then we turned around. We had an article with CBS 6 that came out yesterday. We did have CBS National News reach out to us on Twitter. So Saweetie retweeted our video.
Okay.
So she sings the original Tap In. So she retweeted our video. CBS National News did reach out to us, and our superintendent gave permission for them to use the video. So I answered some questions with her via the DM last night. She told us to check the CBS this morning, but we didn't make it. She said that the story got killed. She did say she's going to push it for tomorrow. And then Channel 8 reached out to us via Facebook, and that story got killed too. They said that it's something about copyrights. So we were planning to shoot tomorrow, but they're not going to shoot us. But I just hope that everybody continues to share our video on Instagram. So we are at JM, don't forget the underscore, Justices, JUSTICES. And then that's our same tag on Twitter as well. And then on Facebook, you can find it on my personal page, which is Latonya Kelly with the EY. And we also put it on YouTube. And it's on TikTok too. So it's everywhere. We just want everyone to see it. We hope that we inspire teachers and students and just energize them for the school year. So